And we welcome you yet to another Coach E's Mindgames, wherein we tackle sport topics with a mental, diversity, and social approach. And for today's session, we want to highlight NAACP.org still, that we would love for you to donate to worthwhile causes. So feel free to go ahead and learn more about that. Before we begin here, I just want to go ahead and appreciate AAA Physical Therapy for sponsoring this event, for this session. This is a multi-awarded physical therapy practice here in Howard County, Maryland. So we provide telehealth services in addition to clinic visits. So for today's session, I just want to discuss a little bit more what Lebron James' school of thought is and Kyrie Irving's push. I know I have discussed a little bit more of Kyrie's perspective last time, but I wanted to discuss both of them together a little bit further. And there's some conversations that their ideals are pitted against one another. And I don't want to view it that way. I don't view it that way. They have the same end goal to have systemic issues to be changed and modified. It's just that their roles or the way to go to that end goal or destination are a little bit different. Just like how we were discussing on how Michael Jordan was leading his 90s teams versus LeBron James, the way he leads. I have the same goal. Sure, one seems to be perfect, but at the same time, the other one has been as deep of a player front as one can imagine. But I don't want this discussion to be about that. This discussion is about how we can continuously fight and work with changes that need to be made. They need to be made because at the end of the day, we do not want to make decisions just based on whatever the pigmentation is, one's pigmentation is, whatever they wear, whatever gender they have. Hopefully we would all transcend and go beyond those aspects of life. But let's focus just the NBA right now. If they do play on the 31st and they continue to do so, and there will be that major league sport, and I know WNBA will be playing as well. But as that league that we all need to go ahead and support as well, it is what it is right now, that hopefully will be changed or modified a little bit further in the future. That the NBA obviously has a bigger cloud of influence. I am not saying that the WNBA and every other league out there could make a difference. But of course, whoever can, as the saying goes, the squeakiest wheel will get the grease, and hopefully everybody will be greased up as well. So if they do play, I understand the idea or the concept that the attention will be taken out of the Black Lives Movement. Or is it going to amplify it further by the NBA allowing it to take place, by these players using this platform to go ahead and be seen, heard, felt, and eventually remembered, and make the necessary changes afterwards? So if they go ahead and just shut up and dribble, in the next few weeks, then yes, the momentum of making these systemic changes will be gone. But knowing all too well, and from the history of the league, that this is not going to happen, that we would be able to continue to have these conversations and to have the necessary actions. So again, we can impact the necessary changes that we have to make. And I just want to go back to the NBA and the WNBA and everybody else like me. Why am I doing this? Sure, if I could be receiving more sponsors, that would be great. But I think I have this obligation as well to speak up and share these certain thoughts, to one way or another to be seen, heard, felt, and remembered in one shape or form. No, I will not be the one to make the systemic changes, but at least I want to go ahead and share out there that I want to be part of the solution. Wherein at the end of the day, all of us are human beings. So I can go ahead and say, oh, it's up to LeBron James to do all the work. No, I'll go ahead and do my part. Now, if we go ahead and do and strike and take it away from the public, just like how COVID-19 has, technically speaking, taken it out of us, I see the power of that too. I see the power of that as well. But are you going to have the necessary platform to be able to share what systemic changes do you want to have and how you could influence all of these necessary changes? And I know the pushback that Kyrie and the other influential players are with him. What is the next step? What's the end goal? Well, we know the end goal is, but what are the steps in order to do that aside from striking? And as I mentioned, I'm all for it. As much as it seems like love and respect the commissioner of the NBA, but the owners are still the owners. Are you striking against them? And at the same time, if you create your own players league, though, do you think the players will be earning so much more in the NBA? At least for the star players. Are they going to be earning the same potential if they create their own players league? But that's something, again, I have already discussed on that in the previous session. So, I know LeBron James caught a lot of flack of the decision made almost a decade ago. Sure, it seems off, as that seems to be the common impact on it. But I think the reason why it's off is because he was ahead of his time. I mean, I see superstar high school athletes having caps of universities and trying to determine where they are going for college. That seems to be a big event. LeBron James just brought it on another level. And as I just read the story of what he's trying to push, which that, together with Mr. Maverick Carter, is that they brought up this whole new platform wherein it will help out people of color to have more of a platform and not just BET or Telemundo. to have that avenue in terms of the so-called mainstream media, in terms of the Spring Hill company. This was that seed to where it is right now, and I'm looking forward to see how Spring Hill will spring forward and create more changes. And I know I have discussed this in the previous Coach E Mindgames in terms of the changes that we have, and I'm challenging Hollywood to do the same. I see all of these Hollywood stars speaking out in support of Black Lives Matter, at least majority of them anyway. That is great. But at the same time, you go and really watch all of these movies, like really big time movies, and it's still predominantly one skin tone. And then not all, majority of the bad guys are dark skinned, and for the most part, they're the ones who meet their very ugly demise. I'm watching Captain America, and they were in Germany. And it was the first time that Loki was there, and Iron Man, and Captain America, and Black Widow was there. I think that was the first scene for them to meet face to face. And everybody else in the crowd was one skin tone. I've never been to Germany. I guess, I don't know. Are they all one skin tone there? I have no idea. But what I'm trying to drive at here is that even for extras, it seems to be just one skin tone. So why am I bringing that up in relation to the seed that brought Spring Hill? Is because of the decision where Lebron James tried to own the narrative on how, again, he's a free agent. It's not like he said, oh, cut me off of my contract and I want to go somewhere else. He honored his contract until whenever, and then he televised his decision. Sure, it took a little bit longer than we want, but why do we watch movies? To see the story unfold. That's what he was trying to do. It's just that he was ahead of his time. That's why it came out of bad taste to some people. And you know what? It came off to me as well. Well, why can't you not just tell us where you're going? Why do you have to have all this charades of television and stuff like that? It was off too, but now looking back, well, you have the platform to do it. Why not? And guess what? You have used your platform to really do a lot of good things. And that's where I really applaud you. To make all of these necessary impact and changes. And continue to do so. So, why am I bringing Mr. Thomas Smith and Mr. John Carlos? And for you guys who wouldn't know, especially the younger generation, these are two Olympians that raised their fists during the national anthem in the 1968 Olympics. And it seemed like it was a salute for the Black Panther movement, but as they really clarified it, it's about a humanity movement. And I didn't see this because I was born a little bit less than a decade after that. And with an awareness of sports and culture and impact, started learning that, at least 25 years after that event. But as far as I can remember, I do know that. And that's what I mean by being seen, heard, felt, and remembered. that, what, 68, 98, if my math is correct, that's over 50 years. That's over half a century now. It's still remembered. It's one of the most iconic moments that we would love to have some level of changes, if you may, with everything that's going on. And this is what I mean by this, that I wouldn't know who they are, what they have done, what they have accomplished if they didn't have a platform. So yes, starting the NBA again, it's going to be a platform. And this is what I'm going to go ahead and say. The media, ask more questions beyond basketball. Why not? That's what I'm going to go ahead and challenge you. Whoever the media is going to be there. Muhammad Ali. I don't think I've ever seen a live fight of him. No. I've seen the movie with Will Smith. Sure. But talking about being seen, heard, felt, and remembered, it's beyond his boxing intelligence and sharpness and greatness. It's beyond that, of what he stood for, what he fought for. He fought without fighting. So again, this is not a matter of saying what Tommy Smith, John Carlos, and Muhammad Ali has done is the same or equal or better or worse than what LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and everybody else is trying to do. No, that's not my point. But my point again is to have the ability to be seen, heard, felt, and remembered. And that's what it is. For better or worse, that the decision that James made a decade ago still remembered right now. If people view it as a flop or a failure, guess what? Maybe a decade from now, 2 decades from now, it will be viewed in a different light. How about Kaepernick? When I saw the Niners go against the Ravens, what, years ago? I don't remember when. that dude could throw. Like, that ball really zips. I mean, I don't know much about football, so please forgive me. But I know that guy can throw. Like, throw. And he's one major sport athlete in modern times who has to suffer because of trying to create a voice of everything that took place a little bit over a month ago. And as I mentioned in one of my sessions, that would we have this strong of a Black Lives movement if Black Lives Matters movement if there was no video of that? And I think that's, again, the saddest part of all of this. But going back to Cap's point, sure, it seems like the commissioner of NFL did identify that it seems like they were wrong and they should have approached it a little bit better and differently. Sure. Could Cap have sold out and just, I'll just take the money, whatever. But no, he stuck with it. He got this major brand, Nike, of giving him support even when he's not playing. So, did it lose impact that he's out of the league, or should he have stayed in the league? and provide more discussions, and maybe he had more financial resources so that he can continue his cause, wherein he didn't lose his job or position. I'm not so sure either. And this is where LBJ and Kyrie's approaches, wherein we can review things a little bit better and how things could be a little bit different. And I discussed MJ earlier, and going back to the NBA, is that, at least from what I heard, Michael Jordan is the only owner so far that has pledged monies to support such movements. But maybe that's something that we need to be more well known of, that we would love to hear more from the owners. Aside from Commissioner Adam Silver, that they're really standing behind them and providing the necessary support for such systemic changes to take place, to happen. So again, MJ is the only owner so far that I think, or at least that I have heard of. And to that, I feel bad, or they did not get publicity, that they have pledged money. And it's not only about the money. Sure, however you make your public statement, that's fine. But within the organizations that you have control over with, what changes are you really going to make sure to make to have the necessary changes that you're looking for? And that's where it is with Spring Hill, as I mentioned earlier, Spring Hill Company. And this is another venture of LeBron James providing the necessary outlet. To have the systemic changes sort of be part of Hollywood, if you may, again, not having to have a specific channel just dedicated for people of color. And guess what? This is around the world. If you will hear some news in India, all of these whitening lotion, you're getting some flack right now on that. It's sad to say, when I was growing up, I wanted to be lighter skinned. I didn't know any better, because that seems to be what's being bombarded at me from a media point of view. It's sad, it's terrible. Ugh. But that's the thing. You learn from it, you grow from it. And I think from here, as I'm in conversations with a lot of other people, I think I'm going to have beyond sports of officially discussing things a little bit more from an ethnic and racial point of view, and beyond race or skin color, but just, yeah, I think as I think of the subject matter right now, I think I'll just entitle it that way, the Homo sapiens Project. For all one species. So, yeah, I think that'll be the title. I don't know. I'll go ahead and figure that out. But going back to this, I think I'm going to switch on the channel. This will be a little bit different moving forward. I'll talk a little bit more of basketball, if you may. Sure, I'll go ahead and incorporate the theories and principles that I know from psychology and counseling perspectives. But other than that, yeah, I believe I'm going to have a separate channel of that. So, for both LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, former teammates, former champions on the same team, I appreciate everything that you guys do, and hopefully you guys can continue to follow through. And we're here to go ahead and support you to make all these necessary changes. And to all the individuals that came before you, I know I'm missing a lot of other people here. Yeah, we thank you. We appreciate it. So, thank you. If you want to go ahead and watch this live, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays, and we'll have sponsors, as I mentioned. Feel free to reach out to me, 866-887-7821, or email me here at manuel@topvirtualstaffing.com. So we appreciate you subscribing, sharing Coach E's Mindgames, and reference at times. That would be that. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you next Friday. Take care.